There is a lot to break down tonight here on the NBA DFS pre-lock live stream here at WinDailySports.com. My name is Jon Jansen. Follow me at JJansen34, the star of the program, at DFS_Ghost is where you can follow him. Yes, there is a monster slate tonight. We're going to go over that right now. This is all sponsored by the Sharp app, by the way. Go to sharp.app. Find out all the ways that you can download the Sharp app, Google Play Store, Apple App Store, all that. And also make sure to subscribe, WinDailySports.com. But Ghost, I'm going to put this up there and everybody will see. 11 games for tonight. I don't know if anybody can see, if I can make that number big enough. There's 11 games. So we got a big slate to go over. And I guess where we always start with this is just at the top. We'll go over most of these games, I imagine. But I want to start at the top because that's always where we're going to foundationally build our lineups. And as you can see, there's enough 10K or higher players that the entire first kind of slide there is filled with top players. So there's a lot to choose from tonight.
There is. And the big news that we likely won't get this before lock.
Makes things always love awfully interesting. It makes things so much easier, right?
Yeah, it makes it interesting to say the least, is that Rudy Gobert didn't participate in morning shoot around today. So this instantly becomes a winnable game for the Denver Nuggets. So playing Joker tonight is interesting. I'll leave it at that.
Now is that Giannis out? I mean, obviously Jokic you could play at any point, but is that mostly because if Gobert is out, it's almost a have to at that point?
Yeah, like nobody can really guard Nikola Jokic in this league.
Right.
Just his versatility.
And Rudy Gobert is great, but yeah, I mean, even how great he is.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. For me, it's to be determined with Joker, but he's certainly in my player pool right now. Giannis being out, we'll touch on that Milwaukee game. We'll kind of just go game by game, describing the key news and who I like out of that. So we'll talk about Giannis when that time comes.
Yep.
Joel Embiid, I mentioned on your show yesterday that I do really like a ton in this spot against Orlando.
I don't know. Tough Orlando team, man. Tough Orlando team on the road.
Yeah, and just with everybody likely going in, I don't even want to say anything else other than the 6K range. There's so many centers that are there. I'll name them as we go game by game, but there are so many centers that people will likely land on one of those guys for sure, if not two. So I'm expecting less than 10% of the field to roster Joel Embiid tonight, and that could be absolutely huge when looking at which stud to play. Same kind of conversation that we're having with Joker there. Harden, I'm off with the return of Kyrie Irving.
I was just about to say, how tough is Brooklyn going to be with all three of them back for the first time?
It is going to be very tough to be able to handicap the Brooklyn offense with Kyrie Irving being active for at least the foreseeable future in these road games, here and there, obviously. So that's an avoid spot for me tonight on such a big slate. There's no need to get cued and try and guess which one of these guys is going to go off. But I do have one of my main player props being Kyrie Irving over 23.5 points and assists against the Indiana Pacers tonight. So you could grab that over nearly any book for between -110 and -115 today. That is one of my top player props today. Kyrie Irving over 23.5 points and assists. I'm not playing any Brooklyn Nets in DFS, but I'm just really excited to see Kyrie Irving back on an NBA court and seeing him hoop tonight. So both Harden and KD are out for me tonight. If there's anybody that's going to rain on Dirk Nowitzki's jersey retirement celebration tonight out in Dallas, for those of you that did not know, Dirk is getting his famous number 41 retired to the rafters in Dallas tonight. If anyone's going to rain on that parade, it's the greatest shooter of all time. So if you want to play Steph Curry, I'll never say no. There's just so many guards on this slate that I don't think I'll get there. Right. And same could be said on the flip side of that script. If you think that Luka wants to show out in front of Dirk, you can play Luka tonight. But again, there are just so many good guards tonight that if you play him, I'm definitely not going to say no. If you don't, then that's likely what the rest of the field is doing as well. Do have a lot of interest in Trae Young. I know he's got a bit of a back issue, but one of the hottest players in the league right now. We'll talk about that game. I do want a piece of Atlanta Sacramento no matter where I go. And Bradley Beal has also been scorching hot as well. So I'll touch on him when we get to the Houston-Washington game, which is one of the first ones that we'll look at.
Yeah, let's start off with Detroit and Charlotte, though, in this one. Potential for some points here. Should be a decent one. But fantasy plays, though. Anything that stands out to you in particular from this one?
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge pace-up spot for Detroit, right? So top 3 pace and bottom 3 defensive rating for Charlotte is the dream combo that we could ask for when it comes to NBA DFS. So poor defensive play and a ridiculous pace of play. So that's an absolute dream spot there. The issue is that it's not really an issue. It's a good thing. This is what we want when it comes to the entire world, let alone professional sports. Both these teams are getting healthier, right? So to be able to take advantage of that from a DFS perspective, it's likely going to be a stay away spot for me just because a lot of these teams are getting their key guys back, right? So we did see Cade Cunningham make his return to the Detroit lineup. Sadiq Bey is back alongside Hamidou Diallo, who's been playing excellent basketball for them over the last 2 weeks as one of their primary rotation pieces that was still active throughout the last 2 weeks for Detroit, while the majority of the team has been in health and safety protocols. So they're still without Jeremy Grant. There's still a lot of touches to go around on this offense. Just all of their prices have stayed like as if the majority of this team is in health and safety protocols, which is no longer the case, right? So that for me is one of the issue. It's not that I don't want to attack Charlotte. You guys know I love attacking Charlotte's defense, or lack thereof, I should say.
It makes a lot of sense. Their prices haven't really reflected.
It's tough.
The current situation, yeah.
Right, like 8,300 Hamidou Diallo.
How often is that the case around the NBA as we are getting somewhat healthier?
It's going to be like that for at least another week. I did on DraftKings for Fanduel. It's likely going to be like that for another 3 months, knowing how long it takes them to adjust prices. But that's just what it is, right? Like I mean it as a joke. I'm also serious when I say that. It's kind of a bit of both because that's just the way that Fanduel is. They do tend to adjust prices slower than DraftKings does. So like 8,300 Hamidou Diallo is already, that should kind of be absurd to you, but then put that into the fact that Sadiq Bey is back and Cade Cunningham is back and Trey Lyles is back. Like,
come on, 3 guys
ends up being a lot
at 8K, mid 8K range
on arguably the worst offensive team in the league, right? So that's what ends up being tough.
Maybe a little too much.
LaMelo Ball's minutes have been way too inconsistent for me lately. Seeing his minutes dip into that 23 to 25 minute range gives me really tough stomach to be able to play LaMelo Ball on a slate like this. As much as I want to play him on nearly every NBA slate, there's no reason to get cute tonight and try and do that. Is it a blow up spot? He could triple double on any given slate. So I won't say, hard no on LaMelo Ball ever, but it's likely going to be a 99% no, as close to 100% hard no as I can get because the minutes are just not there. Miles Bridges looked great last game. But again, Terry Rozier's back, Gordon Hayward's back, Kelly Oubre Jr. is still coming off the bench. PJ Washington might be making his return to the lineup. Like these teams are getting healthier. So for me, this would be one of the games that I would attack on a normal slate with such a big one and all these guys still priced up. It's kind of tough for me to land on any one of them. If I'm playing anybody from this game, it's Miles Bridges and that's it.
Awesome. Okay. So that's one I think we can move on from. Houston, Washington, though. Maybe we can get some plays out of this pretty brutal matchup. But hey, Bradley Beal seems like somebody that we can want in here.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys know how much I love Bradley Beal's game. And
he's pretty good. He's an all-right NBA player.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to one of my top 5 favorite players in the league, you guys know Bradley Beal's on that list. And just the way that he's been playing lately and he's dishing the rock at an absurd rate with Spencer Dinwiddie out, he is going to be able to continue having that role of primary facilitator, but he's also able to create his own shots. That's what he's done throughout his entire career, whether it was alongside John Wall when he was there, whether it's alongside Russell Westbrook or neither one of them, because a lot of the times that he was out there with no second stud next to him. And that's just what Bradley Beal does. He finds a way to score the basketball and he creates shots for guys like Kyle Kuzma, guys like Daniel Gafford, right? These are guys that they're solid role players. They've always had the potential. They just needed a Bradley Beal type player alongside them to be able to uncover that. And that's exactly what he does. So at 10.5 for a fairly depleted Washington Wizards offense right now, I do like paying up for Bradley Beal tonight, especially at the shooting guard position where a lot of people that I want to play tonight are point guard only eligible. So Bradley Beal does fit the bill there at 10.5, and his production in the last couple of weeks have just been absolutely amazing.
Off
So
the charts. Yeah, he's been great.
I do like Bradley Beal. Kyle Kuzma at 7.7. Look, power forward is a spot for me that's the wild card of the slate tonight, is that power forward. I'm not comfortable paying 7.7 for Kyle Kuzma. I'm just going to come on and say it. You guys know I'm very transparent, and hopefully that helps you that I'm very transparent. If you land on him, I'm okay with that, but it is tough for me to pay 7.7 for Kyle Kuzma when Bradley Beal is active. Even with how he's been playing as of late, game logs don't tell the full story. His true shooting percentage is simply unsustainable. And that, for me, when a player is shooting that lights out,
it's going to stop eventually, right? Yeah.
Like, I don't like using the word regression. I'm not a fan of that word. Like,
I love that word. And I love positive regression.
There's a couple trends in the industry where people say regression, and this, like, it's just, it has nothing to do with whether he's going to come back down to earth or anything like that. It's just, it's simply unsustainable, right? So
it's math. That's where it's probability. Like it's telling you that that's not going to be something that can continue over and over.
That for me is the issue. And at
Kyle 7.7, been that way too.
At 7.7, I'm gonna want at least 45. And when you're talking 45 from Kyle Kuzma, you need at least 25 raw, because you're hoping that he grabs 10 rebounds. And this is a matchup where Daniel Gafford can't dominate the glass, right? So
and Christian
it ends up being tough for me. If you end up landing on Kyle Kuzma, I'm okay with it. But again, it's not someone that I'm going out of the way to fit into my lineup. So that's the best way that I can describe it. A lot of intrigue for me on this
Houston players that are back in your line.
There's a lot of intrigue for me on this Houston side. The only issue is, and it remains the same issue that we've been talking about for quite some time now, you have no idea how hard it is to be able to handicap the amount of minutes that these guys are going to get.
Yeah, it's tough.
You like, especially within the last week, we've had Kevin Porter Jr. just not play a game. Second half of a game. We've had Christian Wood refuse to check in to the second half of a game. And it's just, look, I'm not in that. I'm not
hearing only positives here, Ghost.
I'm not in that dressing room. I have no idea what's going on. You hear what's coming from the media. You never know if that's a true story. That's just the nature of the beast when it comes to professional sports media.
Ever play anything based off of media stuff, like especially exactly. Like don't have it change. Like even Kevin Porter Jr. If they're saying, oh well, coach doesn't like him, maybe gonna get minutes. The thing is, you just never know. Things change on the fly. It's hard to predict. It's hard to analyze. Hard to put a number on. And this situation's tough to put a number on.
It is, and just like anyone else, I understand the professional sports side of it, but we're people also. So the coach could say, hey, you know what, if KPJ pulls another, I guess I'll describe it as a stunt. I don't know what word. I'm kind of at a loss for words for what to describe that was yeah, a tantrum, whatever we want to describe that was. If he pulls another one, he might say, you know, now it's not, you know, he described it as, well, it's only one incident and this and that, and we still believe in him. And now all of a sudden he might say, well, I'm sick of this. And now you're riding the bench, right? So people are able to change their mind like a light switch, and that could happen at any given time. So a $6,200 Christian Wood should never be under 8K. I'll say 7.5 if we really want to go there, but he should never be under 7.5. So seeing a $6,200 Christian Wood is awfully enticing. But again, I just have no idea what's doing this Houston rotation. It's a big risk. Yeah. They still have Jalen Green out there that needs to take shots. Kevin Porter Jr. needs to take shots when he's out there. Jayshawn Tate can come off the bench or start in this lineup and be dynamic. And Garrison Matthews at 4.2. Like it's crazy to say that amongst all this talent and all this, like a bright young future that the Houston Rockets have, I might go to Garrison Matthews at 4.2. I mean, if I'm playing a streaky shooter, I don't know if it gets any streakier than Garrison Matthews when it comes to this Houston Rockets team. He's a fan favorite, great guy in the locker room for what we've been hearing. The guys absolutely love him. He's been shooting great too. That for me is a guy that I'm willing to take a chance on. So if you're landing on any Houston Rocket to counter a Bradley Beal play, to counter a Kyle Kuzma play, anything like that, the main thing that I want to highlight, it's not which Houston Rocket you want to play. If you land on Christian Wood, I can tell you why that's a good play. If you tell me Kevin Porter Jr., I can tell you why that's a good play. I could tell you why Garrison Matthews is worth the risk.
You just
right?
got
So any one of these,
right.
you have to be comfortable with the decision that you make. The one thing that I will encourage you to do is to have a Houston player if you are playing, even if it's just one of Bradley Beal or Kyle Kuzma, because you need this game to stay. When I say relatively close, I mean within 15 points. So somebody on Houston has to be scoring the ball a ton, and you do need one if you're playing either Bradley Beal or Kyle Kuzma.
Nice. So that's a good breakdown of that game. Let's move on to the next one. Philly and Orlando. Obviously, Philly is one that's a favorite in this game, but it's just Joel Embiid is this one where he maybe not a triple-double, but he is feeding on teams like this. And I know we've talked about it on my show last night, but these are the kind of games that he's probably going to pad the stats and make a case for an MVP, or at least have the chatter rolling again. And he should be in the MVP discussion. How enticing is it to get Joel Embiid against a team like Orlando?
Very. So if I'm not paying up for Bradley Beal, I really do like the idea of paying up for Joel Embiid, especially with everyone going to, the same options at the center position. And not only are you paying up, but you're paying up for a guy at a position where everyone's playing the same 2 to 3 options. It makes you automatically different. And coming in, I don't see more than 10% of the field rostering Joel Embiid.
Like, that's just insane that he's not getting 72 again. But good Lord, man. Like, and Houston's not good, but so Orlando's the same thing. Like, there is potential, again, not for a triple-double, but for 60 or more points, absolutely.
It's really enticing.
Yeah.
It's really enticing. I'm the thing for me that's big is that Cole Anthony is likely going to play in this game. And they'll be able to keep it relatively close because I swear I'm not trying to take a shot on Philadelphia with
you should. They're missing players and everything. Yeah,
they're not good enough.
Handler.
They're not good enough to blow anybody out unless
Joel Embiid goes
takes
off.
over.
If they win by 20 points, that means Joel Embiid had a triple-double.
And if he's going off like that, it's a win for us. And if it's a tight game and he's playing 36 minutes against the Orlando Magic, that's also a win for us. So I don't see how this doesn't work in our favor here tonight, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I really do like paying up for Joel Embiid tonight. That's likely one of my top GBP plays of the night.
You got me doing
and 2 other guys that I will mention are Seth Curry. Shake is out for this one, as is Tyrese Maxey.
Yep.
They literally now do not have a ball handler outside of Seth. And we've seen Seth in this point guard type of role. He's as good as it gets on this team when it comes to ball handling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like he's not a true, but he's a true off-ball guy. Like,
yes,
like when people say describe an off-ball 2 guard, it's Seth Curry.
Perfect. Yeah.
Like it's Seth Curry, right? Whereas a ball handling 2 guard is more of a CJ McCollum type thing, right? So like, it's really enticing to play Seth tonight. I just don't know if I want to pair him.
Look how much
right now. My initial lean is no.
I mean, since all this stuff's been happening, his assist numbers have just been consistently, like, instead of around the 4s, like, he is consistently getting his assist numbers up higher than he usually would. So
and he's going to score tonight too. Like, for me, it's a relatively safe floor. But if you're chasing that ceiling, I don't know if I would play him with Embiid. Like, if you can't get to Embiid and you want to play Seth instead, I'm okay. Like, if you're playing that where Embiid gets 55 to 60, like, he's not the ultimate slate breaker, but Seth gets to 40, like, that might be the bigger edge for you if you end up going Seth Curry. And I will mention Cork as well. Really priced up at 47, but if he's your last man in, he was just don't expect. The one thing that I will say is don't expect another 11 rebounds tonight. That's what really shot him up the scores in last game. And to add to that, Seth Curry had 2 fouls within 2 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. Like, it was literally 2 minutes into the game. It was before we hit the 10-minute mark. And he had to check out for Shake. And then Shake didn't even finish the first quarter before he got 2 fouls. So Cork was supposed to come out in that rotation, and Shake was forced in early. So Cork had to stay because it was Shake and Cork. And then when Shake got into foul trouble, also they had at the end of the first quarter, they had Seth Curry with 2 fouls and Shake with 2 fouls. Cork had to stay on for a 16-minute stretch in a row. And that's where he ended up getting, even if it was just 5 to 10 points that he got.
That's disgusting, man.
It adds up, right? So I know it's very enticing to see, he put up over 50 DK last time. Like, he's going to go nuts tonight. He's a good play. I like him. He might be in my lineup tonight. it's to be
Temper the
determined,
expectations, though. Yeah.
but just temper expectations where if you're expecting a 50 burger from Fork and Korkmaz tonight, like just lower your expectations a little bit.
Yeah,
But
and
he
with
is a good
Embiid
play.
too, this is pretty much not matchup proof, but in a way that it doesn't. You don't need to put in anybody from Orlando because, as you said, any situation here, if they're up by 20,
Yeah,
means
for me,
gonna be
I'm
one
not playing
off.
any Orlando Magic.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not forcing it. On FanDuel, I don't remember his price off by heart, but if Franz Wagner is reasonably priced around 57 to 63, I don't mind playing Franz Wagner over on FanDuel, but that would be the only Orlando Magic that I have interest in.
Yeah,
But I'm not playing any one of them on DraftKings. They're completely out of my player pool.
love it. Let's go to Boston and
This
San
game's
Antonio.
wiped off my board. I'm just
Wiped
very
off the
excited.
board.
I'm just very excited to see DeJounte Murray back on an NBA court, but this game is wiped off my board.
Just done.
It's completely
if
off
I could
my
blank
board.
it
This
out
one
here,
is
I
going to
would.
be so slow. It's no, I can't do it. I can't do it tonight.
Moving on. Golden State and Dallas. I expect a little bit more fireworks in this one. Yeah.
Dirk's getting his jersey retired. It's on national TV. The Warriors are absolutely steamrolling people now. And Clay's coming back soon. Otto Porter Jr.'s out. If you're looking to the Warriors bench a little bit, I'm okay with it. I don't mind Draymond as your last man in. Like when you're in that Miles Bridges kind of range, I like grabbing a guy that has a good floor to ceiling ratio in a competitive game. So I don't mind Draymond at 72. Curry, Luka in play on any given day of the week. But I don't mind.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I don't mind Draymond in this game because of the fact that Otto Porter Jr. is out. He's gonna have to stay out there and play some small ball center. So
nice. I like that.
I don't mind Dre in this spot.
Yeah, I like that call.
Again, we went over that 7K range of forwards, the Kuzmas, the Bridges, and the Draymonds of the games that we've gone over thus far. There's more in that list, but of the games that we've gone over thus far, Miles Bridges, Kuzma, Draymond, those kind of guys, you're not moving things around to get them in, but if they are your second to last or last guy in, those are three guys that are in my player pool, but I'm not exactly prioritizing them.
You mentioned Seth, you mentioned Luka. Other than that, Draymond Green, not too much here because obviously
nothing else I'm really touching.
Because obviously everything's really concentrated on.
It's very concentrated. You know exactly where the production's coming from in this game. Right. It's at the top of the grid. It's Steph versus Luka on national TV with Dirk getting his jersey retired and watching this game. Draymond playing some small ball center with Otto Porter Jr. out. Those are the really only three guys that I'm concentrating.
So we talked about this game a bit. It looks like Brooklyn's going to be really hard to get. Is that even extending beyond just the three? Like it's going to be hard to get anyone from Brooklyn in there because now Kyrie Irving's back. And I mean, it's going to be a wild card about his minutes, right? I know he's only on the road, so they have plenty of time to like rest him in between. But still, it's his first game back in a while. I imagine, the minutes it's going to be hard to predict. And then still Kevin Durant, James Harden are there. But does that lead to Indianapolis, the Pacers, the Indiana Pacers? Does that lead to maybe an interesting play, like maybe a Sabonis in here or Miles Turner?
I don't mind going back to Sabonis, especially having only taken 8 shots yesterday. It was absolutely mind-blowing that their best player
did he get hurt or something?
Night,
yeah, did he get hurt? What happened there?
I don't understand why
is Sabonis only shooting 8 shots?
He got to the stripe 12 times yesterday.
That's good.
Like if he took 15 plus shots, he would have taken 25 free throws yesterday. And that's just like when they need to get him more involved. I don't know what they're doing between him and Miles Turner, who they're trading, what's going on with Indiana right now, but I don't like after seeing what that offense looked like last night, I was really discouraged just for this franchise in general because they have a lot of talent on paper and they could make a playoff run in the East, but I don't know what's going on with the direction of that franchise. So until they figure things out, it's going to be tough for me to roster anyone other than Sabonis. But I'm likely not going there on such a big slate. I will mention the duo again because they were extreme chalk yesterday and their prices went down in Dwayne Washington Jr. and Kiefer Sykes. So the backcourt duo with everybody else inactive, right? So Malcolm Brogdon is not slated to play this game. Neither is Chris Duarte. Obviously, you have to keep an eye on that. And Jeremy Lamb as well. Throw him in the conversation. But if all three of them are out again, you're likely looking at two of top 5 most roster players on this slate in Dwayne Washington and Kiefer Sykes. And I'm not going to say play them. I'm not going to say don't. You guys already know what the story is with these two. It's been like this for a week.
I've already seen one Sykes. Hold on, did I see it already? I'm pretty sure I already saw one today. Yeah.
This is what I've been saying in
not so.
This is what I said in Discord, and I said I would talk about it on the show. So just so everyone hears it in case they didn't see the message. 50%, 50, of the field is projected to play Kiefer Sykes tonight. That is 1 out of every 2 players in your contest will be rostering Kiefer Sykes. Near the stone cold minimum, I could name you 10 reasons in 10 seconds why it makes sense. All I'm going to say is this. I'm not going to say do it or don't or anything like that. You guys can make a decision for yourselves. Just number 1, do not make the decision based on game logs and what he did yesterday. Because just like Sabonis only took 8 shots, Sykes took 20. And if you think that flip, and if you think the script is flipped tonight where Sykes only takes 8 shots, it's something to consider, right? So that's one thing. And the second thing is that if you are paying $3,300 for Kiefer Sykes, I bet that the second player that you roster on DraftKings better be the player that leads the slate in scoring. Whoever you think leads the slate in scoring, it better be that player. Because if I see a lineup with the Miles Bridges and the Kyle Kuzmas and all the 7 to 8K
it's just too,
shenanigans,
that's just way too volatile.
If you are playing someone near the stone cold minimum, the one and only purpose why you do that is not to get the little cute red flame emoji next to his name on DraftKings. It's to play the guy that is going to lead the slate in scoring. So that's the one thing that I'll say with Kiefer Sykes. If you are eating 50% rostered chalk, again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's extremely good. You guys can make the decision, whatever you want to do. But the second player that you click that plus logo on better be the player that you think is going to lead the slate in scoring. Whether it happens or not, that's what NBA DFS is.
Yep.
You don't know whether it's going to happen or not. But you need to look at the top of the pricing grid and say, who is going to lead the slate in scoring? That's the second player that you're putting in your lineup. Because you're not playing a $3,300 Kiefer Sykes to play 5 Kyle Kuzmas in your lineup. There is zero upside in doing that. It will never, ever take down a tournament. I can personally
Can we play
guarantee
5 Kyle Kuzmas? That sounds fun.
No, I'm telling you because now think about it. Just like
you're
saying,
right. You're absolutely right though. Yeah.
And I get it.
You're putting in Sykes to avoid that.
You're putting in Sykes to play 2 Joel Embiids, to play 2 Trae Youngs, to play Kevin Durant without James Harden and Kyrie Irving in the lineup. To play that's what you're playing a $3,300 player for.
Yep.
So that if they only put up 15 to 18, you don't care because you got the guy that dropped 75 DK on the slate. So that's the thing, because when you're doing that, as much as people say, well, stars and scrubs is scary because what if the scrub does bad? Or what if the stud drops the ball? What happens if 4 out of 5 of your Kuzmas, I don't want to say suck. What happens if they just have normal games? What happens if Tobias Harris goes out and drops 15, 5, and 5, just the way he should be every single night? Like that for me is now you don't need one stud to not flop. You don't need one value play to not flop. You need more than half of your lineup to have career games.
Right. It's just all,
you need
all
Kyle
different
Kuzma
kind of
to drop 30.
Thinking.
You need Kuzma the other night dropped 34 and 12.
Right.
That is a career game for Kyle Kuzma. It usually takes him 3 games to do that. You need him to have. You need not only him to do that. You need 5 pieces out of an 8-man lineup to do that for you to take down a tournament. That's simple math, guys. You're counting on 5 out of 8, 63.5% of your lineup, 62.5% of your lineup, excuse me, or you're counting on 2 out of 8, 25% of your lineup to really carry you. So that's the one thing that I want to say is that if you're playing Kiefer Sykes, make sure that you're getting the guy that is leading the slate in scoring and you're focusing on your duo to be able to carry you through the top of the tournament.
Love it. That is great advice. Yeah, it's just basically different ways we can build an optimized lineup That's the point here. Willie Hoops, by the way. So moving on to the next game that we have here. That's it for Brooklyn, Indiana, right? I think we went over that
Yeah,
pretty
it's
well.
tough. It's tough to get Brooklyn with Kyrie back tonight, and just sit back and watch the game. Enjoy Kyrie Irving being back on an NBA court.
Yeah,
in this one.
yeah, absolutely. So Toronto, Milwaukee. I know you wanted to
Big
get to
one.
this game because Giannis is out. Obviously, that's big. So there is going to be some Milwaukee plays here, aren't there?
Yeah, it's big. Giannis is out, as is Pat Connaughton, as is George Hill, as is Grayson Allen, as is Dante DiVincenzo. Jordan Nwora is still questionable. We haven't gotten confirmation on Jordan Nwora either. So on both sides of the ball, Nick Nurse is going to continue running his stars into the ground. Anybody that's ever watched a Raptors game or just seen the Raptors, whether it be in a playoff series, whether it be in any game stretch, you know that Nick Nurse absolutely runs his stars into the ground, and that's not going to change anytime soon. They're also still without Watanabe and other rotational pieces for him that he relies upon on the bench for maybe 10 to 12 minutes a game. Guys like Svi Mikhailuk. That is completely out the window for Nick Nurse tonight. So you're looking at a lot of the core five of Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, and Gary Trent Jr., with Chris Boucher, Precious Achua, and Kem Birch kind of rotating in when they can. So if you're looking for a game where if you're the type of player that you like to stack a game and that's your personal choice to be able to get pieces in the lineup where you just want the most action from one game, this would be the game to attack. You grab 2 Raptors, 2 Milwaukee Bucks, and just hope that this one shoots out. If that's the kind of strategy that you deploy on a nightly basis, go for it. I do like Fred VanVleet in this spot, but again, paying 95 for Fred VanVleet, you need him to shoot lights out.
Yep.
So that would be something to consider, is that if you need him to shoot lights out and you're paying 95 for that, it's a lot. But the floor is very solid. So that's one thing to consider with FVV. I do rank Jrue over Chris Middleton, even though there's a bit of a price difference there. I do like Jrue in the spot to be able to beat this Toronto 1-3 zone better than Chris Middleton, who needs to find the soft spot in opposing zone defenses, which he's kind of been struggling with a little bit over recent years. So I do like Jrue Holiday a lot better than Chris Middleton tonight. And I actually really like playing Bobby Portis tonight. The majority of the field is going to roster him. So when I was talking about Joel Embiid getting these 6, because of the fact that everyone's paying 6K centers, a lot of people are going to play Bobby Portis tonight, and rightfully so. You could definitely still beat Toronto on the inside, especially when they're running that core 5 that I mentioned earlier all together. They don't have a true center. They have Pascal Siakam playing the 5, and OG is kind of that really strong wing defender. Pair that with the fact that Scotty Barnes is already an elite defender there. So it ends up being it ends up being a good spot for Bobby Portis as well.
So is that why you're maybe enticed for Joel Embiid if everybody's on? Not to say Bobby Portis is a bad player.
Yeah, for me, I'm not saying that I'm not playing Bobby Portis. I will likely play Bobby Portis, but again, if you're going double center, and your second center is Joel Embiid, or whatever way you look at it, that your first center is Joel Embiid and your second one is Bobby Portis, right. Like you can still play Bobby Portis. Keep in mind that the utility spot is huge there, right? So to be able to go double center tonight is an interesting proposition, that's for sure.
Yeah, this game looking pretty good. Now, we do have a question, although from our guy Willie here. I find it funny. Pretty it's bold. Like the and the and why, like like the math problems you used to do, like why you put the answer and then you do that.
Yeah, I gotta show my work here. Yeah. Is what it is. He could be salty in the comments. It's put a smile on your face, man. Life is good, bro.
I love the show your work, please. Bro, but yeah, I mean, Anunoby or Middleton. I know you kind of went 2 players that you kind of opted out for other than those guys, because you said you would rather have Holiday over Middleton. Anunoby, I know you like, but yeah, in this spot again, Anunoby or Middleton on Fanduel.
I'll take Middleton.
Yep.
I talked about every other player. I'm not playing either one of those guys.
Right. I know it's really funny. Yeah.
It kind of makes it a little awkward, but yeah, I one
so
versus the other, your last man in.
Because you would think with all the guys that are out, there would be some value plays, but it's a weird kind of out where it's Giannis and then a couple other guys.
Yeah,
role guys.
The way
it just seems like there is the mid grouping of this one is going to be the core of this game.
Yeah,
like we're
the
seeing
way
that
the
in between
chips
Giannis and Watanabe is right there.
Yeah, like these are all guys that are it sounds crazy to say in a 48-minute NBA game that a lot of these guys are going to flirt with 40 plus minutes, because that's what it's going to be. As long as both sides keep this game competitive, which that's what Vegas has it at, and Vegas is pretty good at what they do, a lot of these guys are not going to leave the court tonight. So I know it's very easy for us to say like, oh, hey, are we considering a Wesley Matthews 3K punt? Are we considering a Rodney Hood punt? Anything like in other rotations, that's often the case where a main stud is out and now we get scorching values flying off the board. But in this case, it's just a lot of usage going to Holiday, Middleton, and Portis on the Milwaukee side. And on the Toronto side, as long as those 5 guys are active, they have the most minutes ran together in the entire league. So that is, it's not going to change anytime soon.
Like it. All right, moving on to the next game. We only have 4 more of these left. Look at us, Ghost. Oklahoma City and Minnesota.
This one's off my board as well.
Off
Minnesota,
the board?
Okay. Minnesota is getting a lot of guys back tonight. Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Lo are supposed to at least play in this game. But that's one thing. That's one thing that takes me off.
I like this distinction by our guy, Adam.
Yeah, he's been killing the Yahoo articles. So
yeah, I like it.
If anyone plays season-long fantasy on Yahoo, if you click the home button and you go on fantasy dashboard, you're able to play DFS on Yahoo if it's legal in your state or wherever else you are in the world. If you are able to play Yahoo DFS, even if you're not, you're able to read the articles. And Adam has one up there quite a lot. So it's very cool to be able to see our boy up there on the Yahoo app.
Yeah, I like it. And the fact that, there is different pricing for all 3 of them. So it's good to know that distinction of like, if you are playing on Yahoo, Kyrie, solid price.
Yeah, that's the thing, right, guys? So when we try and when we'll always decipher from site to site, also in the articles, the plays always translate, but there are sometimes glaring omissions where, if someone slips up and forgets to price somebody up and he's close to minimum, he might be 6K on Fanduel and he might be min price on DK one day. Like it happens, right? Like we're humans, we all make mistakes, and that's just what it is. So there's definitely glaring omissions, and Kyrie Irving is certainly one on Yahoo tonight.
It seems like Fanduel though is always the one where you're like,
yeah,
okay,
it is off
price, but then like Fanduel's always the one like, right. Well, he's kind of priced to a point where you have to play him on Fanduel.
Yeah, it's kind of we end up seeing that a lot. So it kind of
not to say anything, but not saying one's better than the other. It's just it's funny how that usually does happen. I love that. All right, so this one's off your board, so we can move on past this one.
Yeah.
Denver, Utah's, first of all, an interesting matchup in general, but it's, I think like you said, this one is just kind of the waiting game on what happens with Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of guys that are questionable for the Utah Jazz, right? So they've been...
Well, it sucks when the top 2 guys on the Utah Jazz are questionable.
So. That's it, exactly. And it's just this game can blow up in the matter of seconds. Once all these chips fall, and you'll either see them listed as active or inactive, this could absolutely change the slate drastically. And I want to be optimistic and say that we'll get it before lock. Truth be told, we're likely not going to. So if you're rostering anybody from this game, especially on the Utah side, please be prepared to have a contingency plan, if not multiple, in the event that someone like Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Jordan Clarkson, although he is listed as probable, he's likely the one that has the highest chance of playing in this game. Bojan Bogdanovic, like they have a lot of pieces that are questionable in this one. They've been extremely healthy while the rest of the league has had, 5 to 10 guys on IR/health and safety protocols. Utah's been the healthiest team in the league, and now it's just it was bound to happen. That's just the way it works. So I would say keep an eye on this one, especially if you're late swapping. Somebody like Jordan Clarkson can absolutely explode at 5,700 there. So if Donovan Mitchell gets ruled out in this game, as is Bojan Bogdanovic, we know that Mike Conley is not in the stages of his career to be able to carry an offense anymore. It's more of a playoff type style players. So Jordan Clarkson can be absolutely huge, with Joe Ingles already being out as well. If we scroll down a little bit, you would see that Joe Ingles is out. And if Rudy Gobert gets ruled out, Hassan Whiteside is likely going to be a lot of people's main pivot at 3,500, but to the surprise of absolutely nobody, he is also questionable, as is Royce O'Neal. So there's there's nothing I can really add to this Utah
Basically,
rotation.
Get back to us at about 9:30, and we'll
Yeah, that's what it is. And should Gobert be out, whether other players are in or not, whether it's with Whiteside, whether it's anybody else playing the 5, if Gobert is out, Jokic can lead the slate in scoring tonight. So it's something to consider. Even though I don't like doing this because I do like backloading. In the event that we possibly get news before the 76ers game, if you want to be really safe and you're going with Portis and Embiid, you could always put Embiid in the utility for now.
Right. Okay.
But again, you would need the news before lock because Philadelphia tips off at 7:00. So if it's kind of like a 6:59 split second decision and you think that, it might come at 6:59 and you need to go from Embiid to Joker real quick, you could do that in the utility spot if you need. But
so we are getting questions on the other Rudy on Utah, it seems like.
Rudy Gay, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'll get there at 34 because if that's the case, if you're playing Rudy and Sykes, there's a quick path to failure in your lineup, and I don't like having any path to failures in my lineup, let alone very quick ones. If someone shoots bad, I can live with that. If someone that is supposed to be taking 25 shots only takes 5 shots, I can live with that. These are all the nature of the beast when it comes to the NBA. But playing Rudy Gay with Kiefer Sykes, with possibly even another punt, anything like that, that is a quick path to failure. So I would leave him in for now if you have him in. You got to be prepared to swap, because if every single one of these Utah Jazz end up playing, that's where you'd need to come off of Rudy Gay. If you're not playing Sykes and Rudy Gay is your punt, then that works too. That would be your only path to failure. And again, the conversation remains the same, that if all the Utah Jazz end up being active, especially Royce O'Neal, Hassan Whiteside, and Bojan Bogdanovic primarily, that's where you would need to swap off Rudy Gay. So just be prepared to have a pivot, which I would go in the next game to Danilo Gallinari.
All right. I mean, I was about to say, what do you like in this game?
Yeah.
So I like that. Okay.
This one too, it's tough to be able to get a read on it until we get confirmation on Trae Young. I don't foresee him sitting out this game, but things happen, especially when it comes to a back injury. Speaking from experience,
it's just
you can feel great in the morning.
Yeah, right.
You could feel great in the morning, and then you're about to hit the court or hit the ice.
I think somebody asking you to pay the rent. Here goes.
Like I paid my mortgage. It's the 5th of the month. If I have to pay the mortgage, I'd be late if I only had to pay the mortgage now. But no, I already paid. Sorry, buddy.
Good for you.
You gotta hit me back. You gotta hit me back at the end of the month if you're gonna try and get somebody like that. With Trae Young's back injury, just speaking from experience with back injuries, you could feel great in the morning, and it can tighten up on you throughout the day. So it's something to be able to keep an eye on. On the flip side, he could also lead the slate in scoring when it comes to a matchup against Sacramento, top 5 in pace, bottom 5 in defensive rating. Sacramento and Charlotte, lather, rinse, repeat. Sacramento also in the second half of a back-to-back after a questionable, I'll leave it at that, missed call yesterday in their game versus the Lakers.
Yeah, Twitter was having a lot of Twitter was melting down over that. It looked like.
Yeah, that's it was really something. So it's something to keep an eye on. John Collins is still out in this game, as is Bogdanovic off the bench for Atlanta. You're likely looking at a 6 to 7 man rotation because they do have to tighten things up to be able to win games. They don't have as deep of a roster when 2 of their key guys are out. So you're going to see a lot of pick and roll with Trae Young and Clint Capella. I do like Danilo Gallinari off the bench at 42. And if you want to go back to Damian Jones tonight at 42, I'm not going to say no, but I'm probably not going to do it because Clint Capella he's a big man. So I don't know if Damian
large
Jones
individual.
He's a strong man. So I don't know. I know Adam likes Kevin Huerter too.
I'm guessing you don't. Are we getting a disagreement here? Is that
no? It's not a disagreement. I just he's so cheap.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm just so nervous about his shooting. I'm so nervous about his shooting in this game.
No,
but yeah,
I trust Adam on this one. I trust Adam.
I do. But he's in my player pool. He's someone that I wrote down. I know you don't, but he's someone that I wrote down with a star as a shooter. Like when I would consider him, if you're playing Korkmaz, like that could be the possible pivot in large field tournaments.
There we
But
go. Okay.
again,
I like
like
that.
it would be more like that where you're like, hey, does Cork kind of come back down to earth tonight? And both of them are streaky shooting. So if you're getting 32 minutes of Kevin Huerter against Sacramento Kings, that could be a great spot. Buddy Hield can't match up on him defensively either. So I do like that spot for Kevin Huerter. I just went to the front court and kind of took the safer route with Danilo Gallinari, but Huerter definitely has more upside.
All right, let's
huge game to end the slate. Huge game.
Huge
Massive
game. All right.
Massive.
Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen.
No Jimmy Butler for the Miami Heat.
Whoa. No anybody.
No Bam Adebayo for the Miami Heat. No Damian Lillard. No CJ McCollum. Likely no
Nobody's
Larry Nance
playing
Jr.
Actually, if
for
you didn't
the
know,
Portland Trailblazers.
nobody is going to play in this game.
You could play Kyle Lowry. You could play Tyler Hero. You could play Omer U7.
Is this a big Tyler Hero game? Are we getting Tyler Hero? Is this a Hero game?
It's a big Tyler Hero game. It's a big Tyler Hero game. There's so many guards tonight. That's the problem. So,
nope. Getting Hero.
Tyler Hero.
Huge game.
Anthony Simons.
He's going to break the slate tonight.
I hope so. Anthony Simons at 53 is going to be one of, if not the highest rostered players on the slate, next to Kiefer Sykes, and rightfully so. Just way too cheap. And no Damian Lillard, no CJ McCollum. It is a good spot for him as well.
Yep.
I'm just focusing on the main pieces here. Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, you're at 7, and I'm locking in Anthony Simons tonight. And I will mention Caleb Martin as well at 4,500. If you need a forward, because of the amount of guards that are available at our disposal tonight, if you need a forward and you can't get to one of these Miami guys, like you want to play Jrue Holiday instead of Kyle Lowry, if you want to play another guard outside of Tyler Hero, like if you're paying up for Bradley Beal at shooting guard, for example, like there's already a lot of guards there, and I'm playing Anthony Simons no matter what, so I only have a couple spots left for guards.
This is a good question, right?
It really depends on the rest of your lineup. If you're playing Bobby Portis, you can play Holiday with Bobby Portis, but like you have to have a story that says something in your lineup that somebody in Milwaukee goes off. And if you think it's a Middleton game, that works. If you think it's a Portis game, that works. You just have to have one of the three of them in your lineup. And if you're only playing one, I favor Jrue Holiday in this matchup. But then again, it's if you're not playing Hero and you're not playing Lowry because you have too many point guard only eligible players, that's where you could slot in Caleb Martin and still get a piece of the Miami Heat thin rotation that's there. So that's why I will mention Caleb Martin. And yeah, that's pretty much everybody from this game that I like.
Nice. Broke that down very well. Let's do a couple of lineups. We got the updated lineup.
Playing Kyrie.
And you always need to translate these for me, at least some of them.
Yeah. Kyrie sous chef is Seth Curry.
Yes, Seth Curry.
And then Buddy Hield, Kleber, Bobby Portis, Hero, Draymond Simons.
Those are good cookies. Is that what he's talking about, the Kleber elves?
Yeah, I like the pricing of this one, Brian. Just make a second one because I know you're going to want to play one with at least Kyrie, Duke basketball. Brian always makes a Duke basketball lineup. So even though you have an MSU legend and Draymond in there, but he's Duke all the way. So if you want to play a Kyrie lineup, I am okay with that. It's more for fun, like what we always do when we make our $1 lineups or something, or the 50-cent lineups just for fun, whatever. Just play Kyrie to play a Duke basketball lineup, to play whatever you want to do. Just make a second one where you come off Kyrie and come off Hield for a more upside duo.
Holiday, Seth, Huerter, Gallinari, Embiid, Hero, Kleber, and Simons.
I wouldn't play both Huerter and Gallo together. You got to go one or the other. And yeah, that's the only thing.
So where would the pivot? Korkmaz is the pivot off of that, right?
Yeah, it's only $100 more from Cork to Huerter. The thing is that he already has Seth with Embiid, right? So
yeah,
that's why things end up getting a little dicey. That's why things end up getting a little dicey there. But you can always go, and you have Jrue Holiday. Okay, I was about to say I don't know. I don't see any Milwaukee Bucks in there, but yeah, you can go. This is where you can go to Caleb Martin.
There we
Huerter
go.
If you want, you could go Caleb Martin over Huerter.
Nice.
Playing him with Hero is fine. Hero's going to be dishing the ball all kinds. With Kyle Lowry, they're both going to be dishing the rock all kinds, and Hero's going to be scoring a lot too. So you could play Caleb Martin. He's going to be jacking up a ton of threes.
I did say lock bets, but do we have a bet for our guy Gary here?
Hopefully people were listening to your show last night because we got a ton of closing line value on your show last night.
Yes, you did.
We took Philadelphia -6.5. It's now up to -9 on some books.
Ooh,
so that was a 2.5 point movement. We took the Warriors, which I will be taking again tonight. And I really, really want to bet the Hawks, but it's to be determined on Trae Young. So it's going to be a lot of in-play betting for me tonight. The one player prop that I'm focused on right now, out of the rest of them, hit me up on Twitter if you want. I'll likely be tweeting out a couple more, but the one that I'll give on the show is the same one that I gave earlier. It's Kyrie Irving over 23.5 points plus assists. So 24 combined points and assists for Kyrie Irving tonight.
Oh, I like that one. Yeah, and we're getting from Adam, or Adam saw that it's most likely he gets about 30 minutes tonight. That's kind of what he's slated for. So
it's very rare that I give this out. You guys know I don't like giving out the amount of minutes that I have players projected for, but when the time is right, I will give it out. I had Kyrie projected for just under 31 minutes tonight when I did it in the morning. So
and obviously if he's getting anywhere close to that kind of minutes, I mean, with what you're getting, he's likely going to need about 25.
Right, exactly. So to be able to get Kyrie against, Kyrie is one of, if not the best ball handler of the last 10 plus years in the league, and he's going up against Kiefer Sykes. I don't know what to say. Just enjoy the show.
Drew, buddy, and
Avdija. That one caught me by surprise. Do I have Avdija ranked high in the model? I haven't checked. Obviously, we've been on here for almost an hour.
We've been on here for almost an hour.
I have to check that. If he's high in the model, cool. The last time I checked, just double check Avdija. That's it. The rest looks pretty strong.
Yeah. It's funny that really caught you by surprise.
Yeah, I was not expecting any Denny Avdija tonight, but again, the Wizards are thin, so
yeah.
Not playing Brad Beal, not playing Kuzma, it's good leverage there for tournaments. But just double checking the model, Randy, if you can, because I don't know if I had him ranked all that high. Middleton, Kuz, Dwayne. That's Dwayne Washington, I would imagine.
I think so.
Versus Drew, Bridges, and Kleba. I need to see the rest of the lineup, but I lean the second one. The first one is safer. Let me rephrase that. The first one's safer, but we're trying to take down tournaments here. So I would go the second one. Just, I don't know if it's possible. Yeah, there you go. That works.
Can go Dre.
I was just about to say that. Like, I don't know if it's possible, but try to get Dre over Bridges. If I have him ranked higher, I'm pretty sure I have him ranked higher than most.
Well, there you go. Tonight. That works out really well.
Yeah, I like so how Drew, Draymond, and Kleba.
Look at
that. Yeah, that was the one, because I know I landed on so many lineups tonight where I was $100 away going from Bridges to Draymond, and it was so frustrating trying to find that $100. But if you can do that,
I don't know if you saw this, but Avdija is 6.1.
Yeah, then that's cool. If I have him at 6.18, I'll double check for you. Just hit me up in Discord. I'll remind me because I'm gonna forget.
Awesome, and you can check out the Discord chat, WinDailySports.com. Go to the Academy tab, and right there, go to the expert chat.
Sykes, Embiid, Nazir Little, Bobby Portis,
and Simons, and that is now with the Drew,
with
likely
Drew,
Draymond,
Draymond, and Kleba. Yeah, that's really strong. I like that.
Love it. All right, speaking of strong, Ghost sat in here strong for 54 minutes and ongoing now. I think it's time to go. You can go, though, in the Discord chat, and when you do, we're going to help you out with all those lineups. And then we, meaning Ghost, is going to help you out, Adam, as well. So go check out the Discord chat. Sign up, WinDailySports.com, get the projection model, optimizer, all of that. And also, this is all sponsored by the Sharp app. So go to Sharp, that app, find out all the ways you can download the Sharp app, Google Play Store, Apple App Store, and more. Good luck, everyone, tonight, whether it is betting or NBA DFS. And we'll be back tomorrow with more here at WinDailySports.com.